This would not be our podcast without technical difficulties.
I think we botched the name. I really think we should have just been called technical
been
difficulties.
But I mean, what are you gonna do? This is us. This is always what we've done.
This is what happens.
We fight through technical difficulties, and we have been pretty good. Knock on wood.
Yeah, absolutely. Great.
A psych podcast about mental issues, but we call it technical difficulties.
That's not a bad idea.
That's pretty good. I don't know how
none of us are experts in psychology.
No, not even close.
I'll teach it to myself in a week.
Not even close.
I got some books at home.
Just for being able to capitalize on that name.
I'm pretty sure I got D's in psychology in college.
Never took it.
So I definitely don't want to try to give people advice on life and depressions and mental illnesses.
Yeah, well, we have to capitalize on this name, so we're doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show. It's the Small Screen Society. This is Ram, Gab, and Angela. We are here. We are live. This is episode 97. We are three away from the big triple-digit episode.
The big century mark.
The century mark. We thought we would never make it.
It's like, do we start over?
And yet, here we are. It seems like our 100th episode will fall somewhere in the middle of October.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So it's very fitting because
I think that was around the time that we started.
It was around the time that we started the pod. About 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
No, 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
It was 2018.
Yeah. So it took us 3 years to get to 100 episodes, but you know what? God damn it, we did it. We had some hardships. We had technical difficulties, but I'm not going to get too sappy with it yet because I will do that on the 100th episode.
Absolutely.
All I'm saying is we're close. We're close. We are here.
And we're canceled.
Yeah.
That's it for us, folks.
It's rough.
That's a wrap. Do I get to keep any of? Do I get? I guess I just go.
Oh shit! Here we are.
Good. That is good.
We have a nice little action-packed episode today. Ted Lasso. Let's just start with it because it's fresh on Gab's mind. Yes. He just finished up, I believe, season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Angela have seen it. We saw when it first came out, so we have mostly caught up on season 2. But we wanted to touch on season 1 before we really dive into season 2, which ends on Friday in a couple days, or tomorrow. So I wanted to kind of start with this. Gab, thoughts?
Yeah, so I think it was a coincidence because we were hanging out last weekend, and you guys have been telling me to watch Ted Lasso forever, and then you guys said the word sports, and I was like, fuck that. Yeah. And so it was like months before I ever agreed. I was like, I'm not doing that shit. And then Ramel cornered me and bamboozled me, and
which is what I usually do.
Is what he does with TV.
Yeah, if it wasn't
I'll be eating a snack on his couch, and then he'll just press play on something, and it's usually the thing I've been avoiding, like the plague. And this time around, it was Ted Lasso, and I was like, "Fuck it, this bruschetta wrap has my complete attention, so he can play a stupid little show." He played over the weekend. We binged most of the season, and it just happened to be the night of the Emmys when Ted Lasso won the first 2 awards. For best supporting actress in a comedy and best supporting actor in a comedy. So big congratulations to them, and they won other awards along the night. And it was just after we saw 7 episodes. I have to say, it had a similar effect for me with the Sopranos. Bear with me, where you think it's gonna be a show that. Because again, like a sports show, you think it's going to be like this kind of what was that movie called? The Friday Night Lights kind of situation.
Okay.
Like it was going to take its emotional cues from that kind of path and that type of storytelling. By the way, I thought Friday Night Lights was a fine movie, just not really my cup of tea. But it's not. It's a show that's disguised as a sports show, but it's really about just like good living. And ultimately the theme, I don't know about the second season, but the first season is ultimately just about letting go and that process wherever you are and what you're and whatever you're trying to do. I think it's phenomenal series. Yelling at the TV so many times. Yes, it got tears. It got so many tears for me.
Yep.
I almost made it through this. Here comes the sweats already from this lightness hoodie. I almost made it through the season finale without any tears. I was like, the last episode didn't do it, so thank God I get to just get through this one clean. And then he does the little speech in the locker room.
Yep.
After they lose the game, and it's the part where he tells them that about being sad and angry, but there's something worse than being sad and angry, and that's being sad and angry alone, and no one in the room is alone. And though, that's how you get me.
Just sends the goose pimples up the arm,
Yes,
and get you
yes.
going.
Goose pimple. I mean, the lump in my throat where I'm like, I literally sat here with like the tears in my eyes. You son of a bitch. I was so like,
Sudeikis, you son of a bitch.
God damn it. I also have to commend it in terms of like the storytelling structure. A phenomenal decision to have them lose at the end of the first season, because it's giving you this mission statement for the second, as they're going to try to pursue to actually like be like a legit team and try to achieve this victory. And there's no sneaky business going on this time, because she has finally, the manager, the one who got divorced from the original
Rebecca, owner, I believe her name is.
Rebecca, yes.
The
phenomenal. I'm so well earned.
She's great.
Her Emmy win. I'm so happy for her.
She's great.
She's finally let go of that stuff, and she actually wants this team and these people to like succeed. So I'm glad that season 2 gets to be its own thing while feeling like a natural progression of the first season, because when it comes to these kind of shows where competition is involved as an element, you can dry up on story pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that season 1 managed to really just be about these people letting go of their pasts and trying to find a better way forward. And season 2, at least from what I can tell up to this point, gets to be about the game and then coming together to better themselves for their club. So I think that's phenomenal show, super feel good. No complaints, deserved every award. God damn it, Ted Lasso, you were fantastic. They need to get some of Ted Lasso's quotes on like mugs or pillows.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Many quotables. Yeah.
There's so many things he says on that goddamn show where I wanted to pause, but I was trying to like watch it all so we could record, and I was like, I need to go back and get that on something.
Yeah.
This is a show that watching it I watched it twice, the first season twice, because I watched the second time with you, and even the second time that I'm watching it, I laughed even harder, because I guess before it was just like when you watch something for the first time, you don't know how to react to things, because a lot of times, like, unless it's in your face, like funny, you don't really know if it's like what they're trying to do here, because it's a new thing. Exactly. You know what I mean? You're just watching it just to watch it.
You're kind of like along for the ride, if you will.
Yeah, you're just going along for the ride, and like unless it's in your face sad or in your face happy or in your face, comedy, then like you're not going to really react to it the way that like you think, like the way you normally should. Right. So the second time watching it around with Gab and I'm cracking up, because it's just like it is actually a lot funnier than I thought it was. And because the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, this show is very, very good. It's very feel good. Like it's very obvious that they give you these moments. They give you a lot of these moments that are like pull at your heartstrings. They make you feel happy, and like this is like a family thing, and like whatever. And there wasn't, for me, the first time I saw it, as much of the comedy aspect of it. But when I rewatched it, I'm like, okay, no, there's a lot of funny shit here. So this is definitely like a comedy show, but just like they really, God damn it, they get you, man. They get you with some of these moments. The characters,
It manages to be British humor and American humor in one.
Yeah.
It's a very nice blended fusion of those two things, and I thought they did that really well.
And yeah, I just like at the end, like you were saying, like them losing at the end was big, because when you're like, a lot of times, like when you're a kid, you like become a fan of a sports team. Like most of the time, it's because you see a team win at a thing, and then you're like, oh, I like that team, so let me just watch them. And then, of course, like once you're attached to a team, it doesn't matter if they win or lose, you're still attached to the team because you've already given yourself like that connection. So in this case, it's like, I liked that they didn't end it with a win, like a big win. They gave us a win, like a win or two in the middle of the season, but it felt like you feel like at the end of the season, you're attached to this team. For the players, so now it feels like they're a real, actual sports team, and you want them to do well in these games. So then when you suffer that loss at the end, you're like, like, God damn it, like I wanted them to win, but not just for the show, but like I wanted them, like the team, to win the fucking game. So that's like, it was just like an interesting feeling, because like in a sports movie, I never really got that. I never really felt that.
It takes a lot to actually get you attached to, like in a movie, to get attached to a team.
Right. And
except
so
for
I
like the
think
Mighty Ducks, they were hard.
Yeah.
But even for like even in like the movie context, so movies that come into, like Fico, you just said Mighty Ducks, which is a great example. But I'm also thinking like The Big Green or Little Giants, or just those where the same premise, like the a pack of weirdos has to come together to beat the odds to win the thing, but the formula is they win the thing every time. That's the point of the story.
And that's where it's, and see, that's where I couldn't pinpoint exactly what the difference was between this show and the movies, where we watch the movies, and even though we don't know obviously the ending of a movie, we kind of know the ending of a movie.
Yeah, they're gonna win.
You know what I mean? So like, all right, they're gonna have some losses, they're gonna go through some shit, but like at the very end, they're not gonna end the movie with a crushing loss.
Right.
Whereas this was like, they gave you the reality of that, and
exactly.
But that wasn't the point. The point wasn't them to win. The point was for them to come together as a team, and that's like what attaches you even more to the team itself. Great show. Every character, I think even like the random side characters are all hilarious. The three guys in the pub,
the best friends, like the super fans.
The three best friends in the pub, they're funny, like just like, typical like crazy from fans.
Just hooliganism.
I want to go to that pub so
I know.
Yeah, and I feel like every pub in like England is just like that.
It's just like the local,
just rich mahogany pints, beautiful.
I just want to get a pint.
Every single beer that they drink in the show is looks so crisp,
perfect. It's just
I'm not a beer person. I hate beer.
I know.
But like this show, I'm like, give me one of those.
The lady, the lady bartender, like lady, she gives Ted his beer, and like it's always perfectly filled to the top. Like it's just.
Yeah, you just want your beer, and you just want to sing the Roy Kent chant.
Yeah.
Fucking love Roy Kent, man.
That's another thing. Like,
what a character.
The beginning of the season, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this Roy Kent guy. He's just kind of like this like typical like tough guy, like. But then, the further it goes in, you're like, God damn it! Like, he's hilarious. Yeah, he's got levels. Like all these characters, like they are in your face about a certain thing, but then like you can tell that there's more to them, and that's another reason why you like these characters. I just for an intro for a show, a first season, like couldn't have gone any better. It
was an excellent first season, and that's why I'm excited for season 2. I know you guys have already started. I'm nervous for season 2 because sometimes you get shows.
Yes.
I think when you have a hit first season, then the trouble becomes, can you do it again?
Right.
Can you is it a one hit wonder situation, or can you pull it out for the second season?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like season 1. Again, I'm kind of glad that they lost at the end, because it feels like they're giving you this natural progression, that there is some more story to tell.
Right. And there's a lot of things that a team goes through. So there's plenty of writing, that can happen.
Yeah.
Fee, I don't know if you wanted to add more to what you thought of the show.
I mean, I think you guys honestly you touch on basically everything. I mean, you can't say enough about the cast and how great the ensemble is. Jason Sudeikis owns that role, and it's crazy because Gab kind of put out there that he went into it being like, oh man, this is going to be like a sports show and it's going to be like ooh and all that. I went into it, I guess with that same mentality, right? And because it's based off of I think a Funny or Die skit. I think he plays the same guy, but he has no idea about soccer.
Right.
And then you start getting into this, and it's like, all right, I started kind of being like, all right, this is exactly what I thought it was. And then you start getting hit with some of like the real life stuff about like, he's going through his divorce and he's trying to make everything work and he's still trying to like cling on to shit. And you start realizing that there's a lot more at play here. Same with the owner, Rebecca. She's going through her thing. Keely's going through her thing with Jamie Tart and stuff, who's another awesome addition to this. Like, that kid's great.
Oh, my
and
God.
It's just it really is like a feel-good show. And like what we're saying, it's like they end the season with a big loss to Man City. They get relegated. What I like about that is, I guess, at a glance, that's kind of like a big part of the show because it's a soccer team and all of this. Right. So like, but then that loss doesn't seem so important once you actually get the actual message. You know what I'm saying? Like the show delivers its message like first and foremost, right? And then you kind of have like you have the fact that they lost and stuff. And I actually thought that the loss actually makes it so like legitimate and accurate because there's like no chance that like Richmond's going to beat Man City when it like it's not going to happen. Yeah, but like you said, you get attached to the team. And
it was realistic, but like it was realistic.
Yeah,
like,
it was realistic.
There's no reason why this team should have won that game, regardless. And if they had at that point, you're like, okay, well that's just they're just trying to do this for the TV. It's fine, but there's a sense of reality in that loss.
Absolutely.
That attaches you more to the team because you're like, God, this is like real. This is like what you feel like when you're a fan of a team that's a lowly team that loses to a big club like Man City.
Right. It's exactly. It's tremendously authentic in that point of view, and it's crazy because like a lot of people do say that the show kind of leans on being a little bit cheesy, a little bit like after school special, like everything's gonna be all right, guys. Right. But at the same time, like. I mean, everything wasn't all right. Like Jamie left the team, went to City. They lost that game. Right. At the end, though, again, the more important thing is they formed that real cohesiveness that was coming together this whole time because of Ted and because of everything. So this show kind of blew me away because I was expecting something. I got something else, and I didn't hate it at all. Yeah. Like I was really happy with what they've done. Second season is great. A little bit different.
A little bit.
I almost want to say it's a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little. We won't say much. It's just.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's still same values, same fun, same messages coming across.
Yeah. So if anything, they actually, and this is the only thing that I'll say about it is just that it just feels like they wanted to go deeper into each character.
I like that. I think that's a good way of putting it.
What they focus more on in season 2, right? Which I think is even better.
I love. Because if it's setting you up for season 3, then we could really see what's going to happen here. Because there's a lot of different things that play in season 2. So like, let's have this picture develop and let's see where we go from here. Because I think it's sky's the limit.
Right. Hold on.
Definitely more silverware in there.
We're gonna take a pause so that we can get back to this because again we had technical difficulties. We will be back in just a sec. Okay, we are back from our technical difficulties as per usual on the Small Screen Society.
Wow, my fault.
So Angelo was making some final comments on the show and what he thought of or what season 2, what his ideas were for season 2.
I just think season 2 it still has that framework of it tells its story, it has a point that it wants to make, and it does a great job of doing that. But like Ram said, also it you kind of give almost some of these side characters their day too, to kind of tell their story.
Yeah.
And
So it's interesting because it does give you that, and season 1 more so is really more so, yes, about the team as a whole.
Right.
And then it's Ted, integrating himself into the team. And then also it's the whole big thing is Rebecca also integrating into the team. So it's really the season 1 is really just like the whole as a whole, just everyone trying to come together. Whereas now everyone's together. Where do you go from here?
Where do you go from here? And that's why I want to see.
And then that's kind of like where they go a little deeper and they give you more layers. So
becoming more of like an actual like full on ensemble.
Full on.
Yeah. So now like it's not just like players are players. Like there's a couple that like get deeper and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you get some backstory. You get some stuff away from the pitch, I guess you could say.
Right.
And with them definitely doing a third season, I'm just curious. I'm excited to see where some of these storylines start going,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how it goes. The framework of some things in place, and let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
But overall, man, just an absolutely phenomenal show.
Really, really good show. God, there was one last thing that I wanted to touch on that Fico reminded me of. So one last thing too is like, Fico, you mentioned that some people would consider the show like kind of like too corny for like kind of family, little extra family oriented and shit. But that's actually one thing that I enjoyed about the show. It's that it had its corny moments, yes, but it's a weird thing that the show has like the cursing and the language.
It's got, like, cursing in it.
That's like rated R.
Yeah,
it's like they curse, they say like crazy shit, like they have like sexual scenarios, like all this stuff.
Exactly.
But like it's also corny and family oriented.
That's also Europe.
It's wholesome adult.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not what I'm used to. Like, so I'm watching the show and I'm like, the first episode, you see how corny Ted is,
right?
And you're like, I don't know if I can deal with like a full 10 episodes of this. Of a character like this,
yeah.
Because it's a little too Danny Tanner at times, but then you're like, wait a minute, I don't know, man, because like then he's got his moments where he's real, he's going through his divorce, so he gets drunk and gets fucked up.
I mean, yeah, because just to speak to that really quickly, I think no one likes an overly optimistic character. That gets annoying.
Yeah.
They have to have some crack in the shell in order to be somewhat approachable or relatable.
Right.
I remember that just specifically comes to mind from Inside Out, Amy Poehler talking about when she was voicing that character, Joy.
Right.
And to say, like, to talk about how to voice her. And like, you can't go full 100% optimism, positivity all the time, because that's annoying to absolutely everyone. That's not going to fly.
Right.
So I think that the divorce element and seeing those moments of vulnerability with Ted,
I think they were marvelous. Like, in terms of story. Yeah. Like I just, and I wasn't expecting that at all. These are things that I wasn't expecting. So I'm thinking this is just going to be this corny show about this guy that's like super happy go lucky and like comes in and puts his charm on this team and that's it. Yeah. But it's just much deeper and it's realer than that.
More than that.
And to see him being the optimistic, just to see him being the super optimistic person that he is, and to see his own struggles with the concept of letting go. Like I can't stress enough. Like for me, that was probably the thing that hit home most about this show is seeing Rebecca and Ted being juxtaposed to each other.
Right.
Both having to deal with letting go of the past and things that no longer work and how you move forward.
Right.
That's an extremely difficult thing to do. It's extremely difficult to surrender. The real word is surrender, and it's such a struggle to do that, no matter how positive you are, how successfully. Like it's a very difficult thing. So I really enjoyed that theme of the first season, and I'm excited to see what season 2 will dive into.
Yeah, definitely.
What are your favorite? What's like your favorite characters right now? Like after season 1, what were your favorite characters? Because we did, even though we didn't delve deep into a lot of them, we did have their moments. Like a lot of them did have their moments. Nate had his moments. Roy had his moments. You know, Keely,
Coach
Rebecca.
Beard.
These are characters that did have their moments. I
Yeah.
gotta go with Beard, to be honest.
Beard's hilarious.
I think Beard is fucking hilarious because he's just like the perfect sidekick to Ted.
Mhm.
In that he kind of like not grounds Ted, but like kind of pulls him down from like when Ted gets a little too corny.
Mhm.
There's always Beard
Kinda
there to be
ropes him back in.
to reel him back in from like the overly positive corniness. And then he's always just there to like, whenever somebody's got an issue, whenever Ted's got an issue, it's always Beard's always there. He's got his, and Beard also has his things going on.
Right.
So I love Beard. I think he's hilarious, and he just comes up with these funny quips too. And
I think he's got
funny as
perfect
fuck.
timing too.
Yeah.
Fico?
Oh, it's tough for me because it's I love Roy a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to like, without saying too much, you get a little bit more of Roy in season 2, and I'm trying not to let that kind of like cloud my judgment of just season 1.
Yeah.
That being
Try
said,
to just remember how you felt at the end of season 1.
I love Jamie Tart. I really,
Okay.
Just as like a heel myself, I just everything like he is that.
He was a good heel. Because
Posh,
when you get
posh, arrogant.
Yeah, when you get to a point where you like you watch a character on the screen and you're like fucking hate this guy, you're like, okay, the guy's doing it well. The guy is doing it well. He's doing his job well.
And it's like, he's just so almost like oblivious to everything. And it's like he just thinks his shit doesn't stink, and it doesn't matter that he's playing on a team that's about to get relegated. He still like thinks like he's like the man. Yeah. And I don't know. Like I think it takes a lot to like actually have to play a character where your intention isn't to have people like you. Like you're supposed to be like almost a bad guy. So I give him so much credit because he landed that. He did great at it, and you can kind of see where his character arc goes from here. But like season 1, I think that he was definitely a defining character for me for sure.
I just think about every time someone says the same, like the Jamie Tart, like that.
Jamie Tart, Jamie Tart.
And then whoever thinks of that name and creates that song, amazing.
That's just good writing.
Yeah,
that's great.
To a drinking game, you take a shot every single time someone says Jamie Tart.
I think he just refers to himself as Jamie Tart.
Favorite character for me has to be Keely.
Keely, okay.
Great.
I think even though wait, is it Keely really? No, she is. She is my favorite character because in terms of personality, but in terms of like their progression, like Nate roasting everyone in the locker room.
Oh, that was a good moment. That was
fantastic. Such a great growth moment for that character. But I just love Keely because I think I like seeing that contradiction of someone who's so hypersexual, kind of raunchy, nasty, fun, party girl, but despite all those choices and having and just being that kind of character who's usually just kind of left as like the ditzy person, there's actually a lot of emotional wisdom in Keely's character, and how she tells Roy about his identity and who he is, and using his niece as kind of his example, and kind of calling out Rebecca on her shit. And she just has a lot of these moments where I think I love to see it, like sex positivity, or just being someone that colors a little bit outside the lines doesn't make you an idiot or someone to cast off. I think there's a lot of intelligence and emotional wisdom to her, and there was just a lot of great moments for her. So I think Keely is definitely my favorite.
Definitely.
Yeah, agreed.
Is our producer in the studio today or no?
No,
Our
producer needs to get fired. He just got hired, and I want him out.
Our producer has been very MIA with his
job
education,
academics. Okay, fair enough. I was going to ask. No, he's doing his thing. He's too big for this show. Maybe he'll get a pay cut, whatever. But I was going to ask, do we know if Keely was in one of the Batman films? Was she Anne Hathaway's like sidekick for like 2 seconds in one of those films? Do we know?
Was she?
Because like the first time I saw him, like I've seen her somewhere.
I'm gonna look it up.
We might have to look that up.
Keely Ted Lasso. That's her real name is Keely. Wait, hold on. Her real name is Juno Temple.
Okay.
Juno Temple is Keely. Juno Temple.
She was.
Wow. Okay. So I knew I had seen her in something.
That's so
good catch.
Funny. Good catch. She was
I'm happy that my eyes did not deceive me.
She was also in Sin City. Oh no, yeah, Dark Knight.
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, 2008. Wow, so she's been around for a little while.
She's been a bit, yeah. Good for her, man.
Wow, good for her, man. That's awesome. Scores for season 1.
9
for me. Yeah, I was gonna say it's not the perfect show, but it's damn close.
Yeah, it's. I don't think that I think giving it anything less than either a 9 or a 10 wouldn't be doing it justice.
For what it seeks to do, it succeeds.
Right. I'm gonna go 9. But if there was like half scores, it'd be like a 9.5. But like it's a 9.
It's a 9. Yeah.
If this was a pizza review, it'd definitely be like a 9.86.
Yeah. Be up there. Okay, good job, boys. Well done. Okay, so we have Wonder Years.
Reboot.
Reboot.
Yeah. Reboot. Do you want me to introduce that one?
Yeah. You can introduce it, yes. Correct.
All right, so we have the Wonder Years reboot that has premiered on ABC, also alongside Hulu.
Yep.
For those people who don't know the story of Kevin Arnold, the original Wonder Years series that graced our TVs as kids and made us cry, feel nostalgic, sad, depressed, just a rush of emotion.
To be honest, mostly depression.
Mostly depressed, yeah.
Y'all are gonna love me talking about this show, man.
Smiling while they're in Harper's Woods, and then we never went back to Harper's Woods. And then you're just like, what?
We always loved this playground as we were kids.
Then they tore it down. Or like he's like when he has this, he has
and then the bulldozers came.
He's like when he's like, oh, I'm out of focus. This fucking camera. How do you get back in focus? Just why am I having all the technical difficulties tonight?
I mean, my screen's been blinking.
You want to know why? It's because you didn't get a haircut, Gab.
28 minutes.
Yeah, it is because I didn't get a haircut. This shit's a curse.
No, he's saving up for a nice cut on Saturday.
Yeah,
real nice.
And he's like, so going into the show, they did a remake starting off in 1968. Same premise. You have a 12-year-old boy living with his family in the burbs, and he's coming of age, because that's ultimately what the Wonder Years is a coming of age story. And so going into this, I'm looking for a pilot, especially for remakes. There's a lot of weight and expectations on a pilot.
Right. Yep.
You're looking for comparison to the original.
Yep.
And then you're also looking for some senses of originality. What are you bringing to the plate? So going into this one, I'll say for myself, I saw some parallels in character a little bit. His older sister. So and of course, the biggest element of this remake is told through the lens of a black family in the late 60s. So it's giving you a completely different perspective to the experience of growing up in that time. And the episode right off the bat lets you know that this is completely different. Like this is clearly this time in America, and even today, but especially I think more so during this time. These are very different paths for two different communities. And I think for myself, the first episode, I saw parallels with the original. His older sister, who is clearly becoming more aligned with the Black Panther ideology, and that has some kind, I not exactly, but I see somewhat of a parallel with Kevin's older sister from the original,
and how she was like a hippie. Yeah.
So some kind of
against the war and like
against
the war.
Like, yeah.
There's a very strong moral a very moral identification, if you will, in the older sister character. So I'm very excited and curious to see where she goes in her own story. The older brother, rather than a Wayne, I will say I miss our Wayne. You always want the piece of shit older brother.
Yeah.
Instead,
man.
I need my Wayne.
Yeah.
I want to hit that son bitch right in the face every time.
That's why he's so legend.
Yeah.
You don't
Wayne,
like
dude. Fucking Wayne.
Wayne. He was such a butthead. He was such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He was a buzz type, man.
He was a buzz type.
Buzz, yeah. What I will say here is that he does have a brother. What worries me is that the brother, he's in Vietnam, but so was Winnie Cooper's brother in the beginning of the original show. And he died in the first episode. They find out that Winnie Cooper's brother died. I'm hoping that's not where they're going with this. I would like to actually meet the brother and see
I don't think that they're going to take it that route.
I don't think so either. I think the Winnie Cooper brother moment happens at the end of the first episode with MLK. I think that was like that zinger that kind of like, oh shit, like puts a lot of things in perspective.
But that moment was definitely a Wonder Years moment.
100%.
Absolutely, exactly. It's like, where were you? Like,
the way they delivered that moment was such a Wonder Years moment.
As I was watching it, I go, it's the Wonder Years.
It's the Wonder Years.
It's the Wonder Years.
It's the Wonder Years.
This right here could not be more Wonder Years. And not only that, but we're seeing the real life scenario of the MLK news and all that stuff. Simultaneous with that is him seeing the girl kissing the guy.
Corey,
her best friend.
My mouth actually dropped. My mouth actually dropped.
I was like, this is just, first of all, very well done. Second of all, very Wonder Years. Third of all, lock me in.
Lock me in.
I'm sorry, but lock me in.
Okay. I will say the whole episode I was not locked in.
Right.
I was like, okay, yeah. Oh, that's Wonder Years. Yeah. But it was when I saw the kiss moment where I said, lock me in. You're giving me story. You're giving me substance. You're telling, and like I said from the very beginning, what are you bringing original to the plate? And I see that it is taking those swings and kind of messing around with that trio that wasn't possible in the first one because Kevin's best friend in the first one was a complete dweeb.
Yes. Oh, and in this you kind of see this it's kind of opposite in this one where the main character is kind of the nerd.
Yeah.
And then the friend is the cooler guy. He got tall. He has like the more adult voice. Like the friend is the cool guy. And then now the girl likes the friend. So now you've got that interesting scenario.
And then he puts those Paul glasses on at the end, and it's like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, he puts the Paul glasses on at the end. Yeah, he puts the Paul glass on at the end.
Throws that rock through that window like son of a
yeah. Like that was I really liked that episode, man. It was like you were saying, Gab, the first 20 minutes you're like, okay, this is good TV. It's very similar to Everybody Hates Chris.
Yeah, I can feel that.
But then again, like, I'm sure Everybody Hates Chris took elements from Wonder Years.
I will say, though, thank you for mentioning the Everybody Hates Chris thing. I was a little worried at the very beginning of the episode when how he said, like, my dad would say for everything, like, be cool.
Yeah. That was very Everybody Hates Chris.
But I was worried about that because I thought they were going to use that editing tactic
the whole episode.
The whole episode would be like, you're not Wonder Years anymore.
Yes.
Keep doing that.
Yes. This is trying too hard to be like a comedy.
Yes. And that's not what Wonder Years is.
Right.
Wonder Years is not a comedy. I mean, there are funny things that are just naturally funny about like the human living experience.
Right.
But that we will naturally laugh. But other than that, I'm like, Wonder Years was a show that let it breathe with extreme emphasis on depression and golden hour.
Not everything is like happy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, just for my last little bit on this is for the original Wonder Years, one of the best characters on that show was the music.
Oh,
and they ended that episode. Yeah, that song at the end of the episode.
Change Gonna Come.
Yeah, you don't go wrong with Otis.
You can't put that song anywhere and it not resonate. You know what I mean? Like that song is one of those songs that like all right, like I just hit me at the core. We're good. Let
Guys,
me see this. You know what I mean?
We're gonna need to make merch for Small Screen Society with something that says "Lock me in."
That could be that. You know what? That should be the.
that
We have to come up with a negative one, but let's go ahead and get a graphic ready for anything that we approve of.
Yeah,
lock me in. Lock me in. I get a lock right in.
There's always got to be this, like whenever you watch a movie or a show, there's always that moment. There's always that moment that you go, lock me in.
Lock me in.
You look
close the door. Close the bars. Lock me in. Lock me in. I'm gonna stay.
Shit. Throw away the key.
If you look at our logo, all we got to do is just put that little lock part on the top. You know it's like a master lock.
Yeah. Just change change the square, make it a fucking lock.
Lock. Let
me
me just jump in here, guys. You guys clearly enjoyed the original. Is what I'm getting from.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't
love the original.
I didn't love the original, but I liked it, and we watched all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I hated the original. There was nothing more than I hated about that show, and I don't know what it was exactly. I mean, it's a couple things. Yeah. Back in the day, Nick at Night used to do like this end of the summer block party where every night of the week was dedicated to one show, and you would just get that all night.
Yep.
Near the end of the summer, I
remember this.
Like a weekend night.
I remember this so vividly.
I didn't really like go out and hang out with friends that much, like even in the summertime. Like I was just kind of like on my own, unless like someone had a party. Like, all right, cool, I got invited, whatever. So like as summer starts ending, and the Wonder Years are on like on a Saturday night, where like I think everyone else is having a good time. I have to stick here and watch Kevin Arnold go do some bullshit every weekend.
It's super depressing.
That really like bothered me.
Yeah,
and I never gave the show a fair shake. Like I thought it was just like, all right, just repug and just terrible.
I mean, that effect is why. Yeah.
I was gonna say, this pilot episode did more for the Wonder Years in my eyes than 6 seasons of the original.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, again, I'm going with it. Lock me in. Right off the bat, Dule Hill is the perfect like guy to cast as the father. He's awesome. Yeah, he's awesome. It's a night and day difference between the other guy.
The other guy was just a mean, scary, depressing looking dude.
I had a crush on the original Mr. Arnold.
Of course.
But I had the biggest crush on him. I thought he was so dreamy.
Okay,
the parents dynamic in this one is so great because I don't think there's an underlying issue of alcohol abuse and potentially like domestic violence going on behind the scenes, because that's the vibe I got from that dude.
But see, that's the thing about the original is like that's how depressing the original one is. Like every episode is just like. Every episode just felt dark and like something was gonna happen.
Yeah, but remember, I'm pretty sure the dad in the original was in Korea.
Of course. I mean, he went through some shit.
But again, like, you know what? And this is like 10, 11-year-old me, maybe even younger, like watching this, being like, I don't understand why this is happening. This gives me anxiety that I didn't know about. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but this one again, like everything, I kind of compared everything, and there's definitely like similarities, but like the contrasts, I think, make it just that much better, because Dean and Corey are 100% cooler than freaking Kevin and Paul.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
That, the Corey's dad being the baseball coach is great because now you have that dynamic, and that guy's
hilarious.
Hilarious.
Plus the like tidbits of like possibly him like trying to cheat on with the wife. Or trying to like hook up with the guy's wife. Like this is just like funny shit that like
it's a good little dynamic they got going there. I really liked how they did it. I think you got that role reversal from like a suburban white family to now you have a suburban black family in the 60s, and you have segregation I think just had ended,
right? And
it's still like a very fragile time, I guess. I'm excited to kind of see where they're going to go with this, because there's going to be some episodes you could already tell that are going to be very deep. They're going to be kind of like that original Wonder Years-esque, where there's a bigger story that needs to be told than Kevin trying to pursue Winnie. I'm excited to see where this is going to go.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, as a pilot, you got me. You got my attention, and like you said,
100%.
you kind of had to feel it out a little bit through like the first like maybe 10, 15 minutes. You kind of have to get a feel for it. But once you're there, they start making the points and you start getting some storylines right off the bat. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the first line, or not the first line, but like the first like the intro when he's speaking and he's riding on the bike and he says like something about how the cops and what they're going through, and then like also how they're going through a flu pandemic, and like, it's like there's pretty much like the same. That's what's happening right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
that's a little social piece.
It was a good little intro, kind of just to let us know like shit ain't changed, bruh. Like shit ain't that different. You know what I mean?
60 years later, bro, we're still going through it.
I remember I think it was the History Channel or CNN that did the Decade series. Remember those episodes?
Yeah.
I think everything from 65 to 75, that's very reflective of the things that we're going through now. So I think they actually picked to do that, and for having the show revived, I think is a very interesting way to revisit those pivotal moments of the past, such as the MLK assassination, and to see those reflections from what we're going through today and how much hasn't changed.
Right.
So and it's a coming of age story. I love coming of age stories.
Yeah. No, it's very excited for this. Very excited for this. Can't wait. What day of the week is this on? It's on Tuesdays or Wednesdays?
I think it came out last night.
Okay. So Wednesday nights.
Wednesday's even better.
So Wednesday nights, same night as the next show we were going to discuss, which is time for Come Watch.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. It's ridiculous because like I cannot laugh, but when I hear that, and then we're seeing how like much of a scumbag that dude.
It is Come Watch, folks. We are on episode. Well, actually, we are discussing episodes 2 and 3.
Because we didn't last week.
2 and
guys, I have a lot of thoughts.
So
we need to. Can I gargle some?
Let's go ahead and
me.
Go. I'll let Cap. You can go ahead and start.
Oh, which one of these bitches do we start with? Who do we start reading first? Figo, give me a name. Give me something. I don't know where to begin.
Let's go with Linda Tripp.
Linda Tripp. You got to go with Linda Tripp. This is
fine. Let's go on a trip. All right. Look, Linda Tripp. A part of me, and again, I will be speaking about the show, not people in real life. Yada 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 yada. This is the depiction. So the thing about Linda Tripp is I actually appreciate, again, that we said it when we did the first episode, that actress who plays her, that actress is phenomenal. I want her career. Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson, yeah.
A tremendous work with what she's doing with Linda Tripp. It's a part of me, a part of my soul pities her and feels so bad for her in this show. To be
agreed.
In the position that she's in and where life has taken her, and it's just the same microwave meals every night. And so how the show is telling you her motives without having to be didactic in it, by just showing you her every day and her experiences. And now all she does is organize those tours, and she clearly wants bit more meaning, or wants to feel more important. But the thing about Linda Tripp and what we see in the first 3 episodes is that ambition for ego spotlight comes like there's no redemption in my personality, in my opinion, because I don't know, if you want to be recognized for something then do something. Right. She was like a career secretary at the White House before she got moved to the Pentagon. But even there, she kind of like stuck up her nose, at least from what we saw in the first episode.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Nose in the air.
Yeah.
And no humility or modesty in her role. So, and when it wasn't even that important to begin with. She enjoyed
the little bit of like celebrity
she thought that she had power.
She thought she had a little bit of like a power and celebrity
position and prestige,
that like that made her kind of cocky in terms of, you know what I mean, like
by association.
Right.
So and I think that's just a phenomenal character to put on television, because I think there are actually a lot of personalities like that in real life. that just feel powerful, feel entitled, feel superior for being in the peripheral to the powerful and the entitled and the quote unquote superior.
Yeah.
So I think that I like that a lot. I don't know who she's kidding. I'm glad that Kathleen girl at the end of episode 3 called her ass out. Like your life is so goddamn boring that you're just eating this all up because you want to be in the center of all of this.
And then at the end of episode 3, you really get the like stamp of that's true when she rushes out to read the fucking magazine article. Buys three copies because what does she open it up and see? Linda Tripp. And they kept focusing in on that because that's what she wanted. That's what she wants. Her life became depressing. Her life became nothing compared to what she thought it was before.
Talk about her again.
Yeah, so now she's at the forefront of something bigger. But again, she's a side character again. All she is somebody who knows somebody that's going through this.
Exactly.
It's not her in the thing. She's just a side piece.
It's not her story. It's not her story.
It's not her experience. But again, that's just. But so that's how you understand. How she is, and that's it's kind of sad. You also kind of like it kind of makes her like a piece of shit, but also you feel bad for her, and then like it's like a weird.
There was that one moment where like. She was like telling her daughter she couldn't have the car, and the daughter's like, "No one's gonna know if you're gone. Like all you do is organize trips." And like,
that's sad.
Yeah, I felt so bad, and I was like, "Damn, this bitch is getting a raw deal. Maybe she's misunderstood."
Yeah,
and literally like 2 minutes later in the thing, like she's like selling Monica out. It's like, oh, Jesus.
yeah.
Never mind.
Right.
I mean, I just don't like seeing old people sad, man. That's what it comes down to. I got
amen.
A heart.
I know. I agree. And that's what makes it doesn't for me it doesn't justify her actions, but it makes me as like a viewer not immediately villainize her because I feel bad for her.
Yeah, pity's a good
because I wouldn't want to be at that age and probably feel what she feels.
Right.
Like you're worthless, you know what I mean? Like you're nothing because this is where your life took you.
But that's why I don't believe in bad people. I believe that there's just people who make bad decisions.
Decisions.
Right. Yeah.
I think we get so caught up in good people, bad people. Like we're not watching Nick Jr. Like we don't have Pampers on anymore. Graduate past the good people, bad people thing. Yeah. It's people who make good decisions or bad decisions. This is someone who is just making bad decisions because of feelings of inferiority, yesterday's news, and not being in the position which is what she defined her value as. So someone who doesn't have a spouse or doesn't have a lot of friends, like her identity was the White House, and having that removed, I mean, ultimately what she's having is an identity crisis, and thus she's making these extremely bad fucking choices. You have to accept the consequences that what comes with your piss poor decisions.
Right.
So fuck Linda Tripp.
Facts. Let's go with Monica next. Gab, what do you got for
her? Monica Lewinsky. Honestly, I'm very glad. What were you going to say? Remember, what were you going to say?
Have a seat, girlfriend.
Girl, take a seat.
Actually, I'm not asking her to sit down yet. Even after she showed her panties, I'm not asking her to sit. Monica, stand up. Stand up, honey. Stand up. Not yet. Stand up.
That scene was hilarious. That scene was so funny.
Yeah, that scene was hilarious.
When she flashed the pink panties.
Yeah.
She's like, let me get on the phone real quick.
Wait, that's another bit we have to do. It's like, who gets asked to have a seat?
Yeah.
So she's not asked yet. She's not asked yet to have a seat, and this is why. The real Monica Lewinsky is a producer on this show. So like the panty showing scene and all of the things that we're seeing depicted through her relationship with Bill and what she was doing in her personal life, she knew that was going to go in the show and was like okay with it. The reason why I'm not with her is because she at this time is a 22-year-old girl.
Right.
To me, I know people say like that's an adult. For me,
man,
you can have a seat.
Yeah. No,
that's a child.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a child who has no idea what the world is. She gets in a bubble of her feelings, and those things become all consuming. She doesn't.
And not only that, but the president of the United States gives her attention.
Come on, and you know.
My friend pointed out like you have a habit of doing this with like every guy who shows you attention. Like this is what you do.
Yeah, I mean,
common for that age.
Yeah, it's like so like you're seeing it. It's like oh shit, she's falling. Almost you feel bad for Monica basically, in my opinion, because it's like this girl just can't figure it out. Just can't learn her lesson.
And I believe in this law. It's just a personal law, and this doesn't just go for women. I'm not saying this about women. I'm saying this about for men as well. There's a time in your life where you can play the naive card, the inexperienced card, and then there comes a time in your maturity and your journey where if you are still making those kind of choices, then you a hoe. So there's a line. I don't think she's in hoe category at 22 years old. She ain't a hoe. But there are people in their late 20s, 30s still doing that kind of stuff with married people, and they're hoes. Why? Because they know better. You're not supposed to be doing that kind of stuff. But for Monica Lewinsky, this is a 22-year-old girl who made a piss poor decision that just happened to be blasted all over the evening news and across the planet.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because her piss poor decision making was in connection to the most powerful person in the world or one of the planet. So of course, like this is the result of that. I mean, like there's those debates. There's those debates about like I saw like on The View the other day talking about like cancel culture and like but like now she's profiting off of this experience, becoming like producer of movies and all that stuff, and so like there was kind of like annoyance with that. Because she was part of an affair and because of what she did, and again I stand by the thing. I'm like 22-year-old girl is not a hoe. That was just a mistake. And second of all, if Bill Clinton was one election away from becoming first gentleman, Monica Lewinsky can produce all the goddamn movies she wants. Make a trilogy, girl. Make 5 trilogies. Yeah.
Make it in 3D. I don't like if you do not have the Monica Lewinsky cancel thing if you're not gonna say anything about Bill Clinton not being canceled ever.
Right.
So I'm like, that's exactly because he was the scum in that situation. This show, if anything, 3 episodes in, I'm like, God, this guy's dirty.
Bill is not doing himself any favor.
Yeah, I think
Shooter McGavin being Bill Clinton's lawyer.
Shooter McGavin.
I was happy to see that.
Continues to get work. I'll tell you this. So, 2 characters that should take seats.
Okay.
So far, to me, in my opinion, 1, Bill. Obviously, I think Bill should take a seat. You're an idiot. But 2, who should take a seat is the fucking boyfriend of the girl that's suing Bill. Take a seat, motherfucker. This isn't about you. You're just fucking pissed and you're trying to get attention and you want your career to fucking
my man just trying to get a gig out of this.
Bro, like
have a seat. Have a seat.
Like the second that I saw first of all, great fucking scene with the woman that is helping her, the blonde lady, and she very clearly knows what she's doing, and she drops the hint that, you know, if they settle, you know, that it'll look she still did it. So she tells him that she tells him that because he will influence her to not settle. So in that scene, I'm thinking, okay, so they're not going to settle. This guy's going to, you know, cause a scene. And then that scene happens and I'm like, okay, yeah, like this is exactly what I would expect from a white trash idiot that is looking for, you know, an easy in to like an industry or to do this. And
he's using his wife.
He's using his wife. Like he doesn't give a shit that she could potentially, you know, go down in flames in the court. It doesn't matter. Right. He wants a bigger show. He wants to
put him
and for him not to look like a cuck.
And for him to not look like a cuck. This is entirely bullshit. Have a seat, motherfucker. We don't want you around. You're trash.
He can have a seat. You're right, Ramel. When you're right, you're right. There was someone by episode 3 that needed to have a seat. He did need to have a seat. I can't stand to see him on the television. Whenever his scenes come up,
I hate it. Yeah, it's just like I
get upset.
Because it's just like I almost want to see what the real guy looks like to see if that was
like an accurate
a real
representation.
actual guy that maybe tried to have acting gigs and then like
obviously didn't work out.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot. Like they show like Newsweek and shit with Paula Jones on it and stuff. I'm like, I want to look that up to see like how close they came to actually like capturing the actual person.
I have to assume that that they had to at least like come kind of close. Like
they're pretty close on Linda Tripp with
yes. I mean,
pretty accurate.
Paulson got even her voice down very close.
Yeah.
From like
mannerisms.
Like so I can only imagine that. Like I haven't checked up on the guy with the Drudge Report guy. I know that was a big thing.
It's crazy because I didn't even realize that was going on. Like
right.
I don't think about the internet being around then. So like I didn't think about Drudge Report being like a thing. And this could be the thing that actually broke him because I do remember that a lot of people frequented that site. I think I might have done it like 2 or 3 times, but a lot of people swear by that fucking site.
And thank you for bringing that up because if there was one thing from the 3rd episode that I took away that they slid under the table is that essentially what it sounds like is their thesis is that the Monica Lewinsky Bill Clinton scandal, it was the devil's door that opened the way for the likes of Trump and this kind of
you heard that lady that lady
and that was what I was going to bring up
what that meant.
That's 100%. Exactly what that meant. That is exactly what that meant. They put that line in there, her saying that, because all that was just telling us that this right here is probably why we have who we had or what's been going on.
It was the devil's gate that allowed the domino effect for what would eventually happen. Mm-hmm. And I never thought I would agree with Ann Coulter. But again, this is the fiction.
All she had to do was literally look at the camera and wink.
Yes,
and like that, I would have been like,
if they would have broken the 3rd or 4th wall right there.
Yeah. I think that, and it's also with the Billy Eichner's character, the Drudge Report thing, that there was a brief moment in that conversation in that newsroom where they're kind of because this isn't the birth of the internet yet, not really, of the age of Twitter and Instagram and how we receive our news and stuff like that. This was the beginning of the gossip age in how this also played a role in that shift in how we look at our leaders and kind of how we speak of them. And I can't say, I don't know if it was the absolute, it became a reality show. It was the introduction of our politics and our leadership becoming a reality show.
Because
for sure.
And like she explained, like even when the thing happened with Nixon and Watergate, he was held accountable, and like there were mistakes made, but it wasn't the show that like this became. This wasn't like it wasn't like a rumor mill, she said, he said, like sexual thing. It was like a legit whatever, like however you want to explain that. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't the same. This was the first time where it became more of like a celebrity gossip, but
it also
People magazine type.
But it also, thing. I'm sorry, this show also, even though it's going after Bill Clinton hard, it also is behind the desk taking a slap at Republicans and conservatives, because here are conservatives going hard at Bill Clinton, wanting accountability for these sexual assaults, but you had Trump on tape saying grab him by the pussy.
Right.
President.
Right.
So
we're not a political podcast.
But that's not a political podcast.
We're just describing,
because both sides do it. Both sides do it. Both sides pick their morals so long as it serves the narrative that they want to live. And I think that's also where this show is highlighting a time in our politics where that was done to the nth degree in the Monica Lewinsky and the scandal. So I'm loving it so far. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's great, man. They really know what they're doing with these shows. Like, this series is great.
I'm
brings you in.
Yeah, I'm loving this. I'm loving this so far. I think it's just like it just gives you such a a flashback, an interesting look into a time where we were kids and all this was happening. So it's cool to see. It's cool to see this. It's the same thing that I felt when I was watching the OJ one, because remember the OJ thing, the OJ thing, I knew that was happening or something like that was happening, but I didn't know any of the details.
Any details, exactly.
So this is again one of those things where I'm watching, I'm like, like this is really what's been going on here, like shit like that. So really, really, really good show so far. So I'm going to keep watching it, and I'm very excited to see how this plays out. I guess we'll finish with a quick little discussion. Real quick. Go ahead.
Speaking of flashback, shout out to them getting the America Online
I forgot to bring that up yet. The sound thing, and
so satisfying.
When she pulls up the Drudge Report and the loading time for the page to open, I was like, it gave me PTSD. I was like,
holy shit!
I was like, throw that out. That out.
Like, oh god, I just remember like being a kid and like pulling up like a picture of a girl's boobs, like, and then like just seeing like waiting for like the fucking picture to like fully load. You know what I mean? It's just. That was our time, man.
The web design of the Drudge Report was
so bare bones.
God awful.
It
looked like a virus.
It literally just looked like a Word doc that just said Drudge Report on top. But it's a really good show. We will finish quickly. Gab will discuss. I don't know. I don't think Fico saw it, but
I didn't know.
We did see the first episode of Visions.
Star Wars Visions, on Disney Plus. So there's 9 episodes total. They're short. They range from like 15 to 20 minutes or so. I haven't seen all of them. I just wanted to quickly touch on it since it just came out this week. I looked up really quick some articles and just be like, okay, since it's an anthology series, each episode stands by itself, so you can watch them in any order that you want. And I just wanted to know what are like the top. Give me these ranked. Like what are the top 3, and I got to see some of them, and I think they knew what they were doing by placing the first episode as the first episode.
Yeah.
Because I have to say, it's absolutely out of the ones I've seen so far, the strongest.
Right.
It's kind of takes the Jedi concept and puts into this black and white samurai Ronin context. The black and white design of this animation was something like I've never seen.
So at first, when I first started watching it, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this, because again, like it's literally just black and white, and the animation style is like, it's like the shading. It's like if you just take a pencil and just go like this. Instead of like actually colored in, and like, so it's very rough. It's a very rough sketch type animation, but a minute or two in, and you start to realize like the style it's almost like a 3D-ish kind of sketch art, but then they throw in a little bit of color for the lightsabers, and you're like, oh, this is cool. And then the bad guy gets there, and it's this like a Sith Lord, a woman, and she shows up in heels, but like a full black like samurai kind of suit, with her red saber, and you're like, oh, this is even cooler. And then she starts fighting and destroying shit, and then you're like, okay, this is awesome. And then you got the guy, the main guy, the I guess what would be the good guy, but it's not really. I don't know if he's good or not. He's a former Sith. So he's a former Sith. Like, I didn't catch that. I just got. Well, he also has a red lightsaber, so I don't know. He's like a rogue Sith. I thought he was like a rogue Sith. So he shows up, and then he fights her after she's destroying all the army that's there. And he pulls out his red saber, and the fighting is beautiful, beautifully animated. It's just like it's cool, man. It's just like it's an awesome 15 minutes of just like a weird way of seeing, like a different way of seeing the Star Wars universe, but just like really unique and really cool and really interesting. And I enjoyed this 15-minute episode more than I enjoyed any of the what ifs for Marvel.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay.
I would agree. I would
Yeah,
agree 100%.
and maybe I'm biased because I like Star Wars more than Marvel, but I just think in general I enjoyed watching this. Like, and I almost wanted it to last much longer.
Yes,
while
the
I was
artistry
watching.
is
Yeah.
well. You're in luck, Remo. You don't read, but Fico, if you don't watch any of the other 8 episodes, just watch this one. It's visually
Watch the first
just
one.
Yeah, it's
absolutely
15
stunning.
minutes. It's quick, but it's really, really cool.
I think they had such faith in that first episode, not just by placing it first on the roster, but it has an accompanying novel that comes out in October, focused on that character. So that's why I know he's a rogue, former Sith, because that's kind of like the premise for his character in the book. I'm absolutely getting that next month. Can't wait to read it. I will just say one thing in terms of, because I did see other episodes, and because they all somewhat take their liberty on the Star Wars universe and play around.
Right.
There's one thing that was introduced in another one. I won't go into the episode, but just like this kind of rule of how lightsabers and Jedis work. That, you know how like if I grab my lightsaber and like I told you, like every Jedi, the color is specific to their connection with the Force. That's the color of their lightsaber. So like, let's say mine's blue, right? So that's it. This lightsaber is blue because mine. But if you grabbed my lightsaber,
right, it would change color.
It would change color to reflect your connection. So then so it could change to green depending on how. So one of the episodes follow this little girl whose connection to the Force is only growing. So when she lights her lightsaber for the majority of the episode, it's like a ghosty green.
Oh, interesting.
Because she's not fully connected.
She's not fully
yet.
there yet. Okay.
So it's like it's almost like a transparent ghostly green with black in it, and
interesting.
It's so because she's still connecting, and you see as the episode progresses, the same thing. Like she gets more connected, and it turns solid green. Right. A guy's red turns purple because of something that happens.
Oh, okay.
So it was an interesting, cool thing. So I'm excited to see one more of the top 3 episodes to see if anything unique like that is introduced.
Yeah.
But
well, let us know, Gab, what the top 3 episodes are. And we'll just all watch them, and the next week we'll discuss.
We can discuss them, yeah.
Like the three or 4 top episodes, because they're all pretty short. So
yeah, I'll take a scope. It's that, but for anyone watching, so it's that one, the Ronin episode, the very first black and white.
Yep.
Then it's an episode called The Ninth Jedi, and then one that I believe is called The Elder. Okay. Those are the top 3 episodes with, and in that order as 1, 2, 3.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Well, good job today, boys. We had a lot to talk about, had a lot of things to say. We'll be back next week. I don't know what we will discuss yet, but as we always do on the show, fly by the seat of our britches. Is that the word?
Britches,
the word?
Yeah.
The word term?
Remember, clock out. That wasn't.
Take a seat. Why don't you take a seat?
All right, boys.
Why don't you take a seat?
Check you later. We'll see you next week.